A warm greetings to the viewer. Welcome to the first of the lecture in the lecture series on the overview of Vedas. Please note that these part of the lectures are not available as a part of the article. Whatever overview that we are giving, we are not detailing, we are giving basic facts. All interested viewers can search and study further into the areas that we are talking about. So let's first start with what is Veda. A best possible meaning in English could be given as it is eternal knowledge. How did it come about? There were men, holy men, who were looking for the life beyond one's body and mind. They looked at the nature, the creation, and the creator as a part and parcel of this creation and wondered about what is the truth. Their search led to a lot of thought process, open-minded seeking, and these men are whom we call as rishis. These rishis received the vibrations and the sound of these Vedic mantras directly from the Creator himself, whom we called the Lord Parameshwara or Shiva. These men had very high level of perception which is beyond our normal human experience to realize these mantras. That means where were all these rishis? These rishis, were they confined only to India? No. Veda mantras have been revealed to rishis all across the world at various points of time in various ways. What we see today as the compilation of Vedas is the compilation from the revelations that has been made to the rishis, sages, holy men across the world at various points of time. Now, if you take some books and look at the background and the source of Vedas, a reference is made to a rishi by name Jarasutha in the Vedas who has contributed to a lot of mantras on Agni, that is fire, but in a real Vedic point of view, Agni is not just the fire as you see, and an analysis of the source reveals that this rishi Jarasutha is none other than Zoroaster, one who propounded the Zoroastrian religion. We practically call Zoroastrians as Parsis. That means there has been a kind of Vedic religion that has been in existence around the Persian area, and the revelations have come into India. What scholars say is, in good old times, there were only a kind of Vedic religion which was revealed to different regions, different languages based on their climatic conditions and culture. And all these areas have been somehow been invaded by people who never had a spiritual inquiry or search. And the Vedic religion that was found in various parts of the world have slowly given away, but the rishis had passed on all that their revelations in some form of mantras, which has been compiled and well known. It is released in India. Now, what is the proof that people are looking at that there was a kind of Vedic religion adapted to the local conditions and culture in the various parts of the world? If you really see, you will find the news which can be searched on the internet that nearly a 15,000-year-old idol of Narasimha has been found excavated in West Germany. If you look at Oregon State, there is exactly a design that has been formed on the ground that matches with the Sri Chakra, which is used for worship or what we call specific worship called Upasana in India. One of the recent videos that I saw from the Isha Foundation, Sadhguru Jaggi Vasudev had visited Turkey, and in one of the buildings he found a Shiva Linga lying unattended. He applied the first test of, putting a Rudraksha and Rudraksha Mala, and he could find the vibrations that exist in that Shiva Linga. If you go to Rome, you find a picture of Ganapati which has been carved in a building hundreds and hundreds years before. Similar many people talk about excavations of Shivalinga in various parts of the world. That means there has been a religion which followed certain principles for their own where people followed a religion for their liberation, which coexisted. Then this is what scholars normally refer to as the Sanatana Dharma. What they say is the revelations of the God, irrespective of the country, language, or cultural differences, is a dharma which should be practiced by people as eternal. The word Sanatana means that is eternal without there being any end. But what scholars say is the modern religions have taken a path away from Sanatana Dharma. They always claimed a kind of one-upmanship over other cultures or religions. That really has led to a lot of decay in the whole concept. And you will find Sanatana Dharma, the practice of people following various paths to their liberation, existing only around in the Asian continent. Does it mean that people outside the Asian region do not have Vedas? Because first I said the Vedas are being revealed to holy men across the world at various places. Let us see a very interesting incident. Many of you would know the sage of Kanchi, Sri Chandrasekhara Swamigal, who was heading the Kanchi Mutt for quite some time. People across the world used to come to him for discussion, understanding, and take advice on various spiritual matters. It happened that two Jewish gentlemen had come from Israel. After some conversation, they said to the Swami that, "Sir, we don't have the Vedas like the way you have in India." Then what he did was got some of the Vedic students to recite some verses from Rig Veda. He also asked them to recite some verses from Talmud, which is the holy book of the Jews. After some time, he took a pause and said, "Now let me try reciting Vedas. I have done my Vedic studies long ago when I was young." So he started reciting a Rig Veda mantra out of tune, like it's being recited in a very odd way in a European or some other language. As he recited, both the Jewish gentlemen joined him and started reciting a similar sounding verse from Talmud in praise of God. Then, after some time, he stopped and smiled at the Jewish gentleman and said, "See, this is your Veda." So, the revelations and how it has been carried forward by various religions. For some of the religions or cultures, they have lost their entire Vedas due to invasion. So we cannot say that Vedas are something unique to India, but what is remaining in India is quite substantial part which has been gifted by the rishis, the revelations of God, and protected and carried forward for many generations. In good old days, there were no books. So the Vedas were transmitted from an elder generation to the younger generation. The younger generation will be initiated into the Vedic studies at a much earlier age because they will have a short memory to grasp the recitals and the meaning of the mantras as they grow old. Since it has been passed on more like a singing, and for generation to generation, this has not been written at all. Therefore, the part of the Vedas that is recited and handed over from time immemorial is called Sruti, that which is sung. The part that which is written and documented as Puranas, Shastras, and lot other things, they are called Smriti. Smriti is something that has been written down. So, for the wisdom of a man, wisdom can be, connected to the tusk of an elephant. It is Lord Ganesh Vinayaka who wrote the Mahabharata at the request of sage Vyasa. So, he broke one of his tusks and started writing the Mahabharata in palm leaves. So, here is Ganesh having one tusk in his hand and another in his mouth. This is explained or interpreted, a holy interpretation is that you have to have Sruti in your mouth and also practice and follow what has been written in the Smritis. Therefore, these are compared to the two tusks, are two combined paths for your liberation. Some scholars do interpret it little differently by saying Shruti and Smriti are two eyes. They need to work in tandem to open your third eye, that is an eye of consciousness or an awareness that links you to the cosmic energies. The times of the origin of the Vedas is not easily traceable. It has been for time immemorial. But what you should remember today is there has been a lot of changes in the times. The Vedas were not only about your liberation, it has a lot of revelations about your well-being, about your health, the way you will take postures, the way you should sleep, how you will control the movements of the body, how to realize or observe the subtle nature of things around you. So, a lot of traditional knowledge has been lost. We see a lot of temple structures. If you see a program on the National Geographic, they look at Madurai Meenakshi Temple and say, with whatever equipments that was known to be available around the time, nearly 1,000 years back, it is impossible to build a similar structure. This towers in Meenakshi Temple. That means our generation, earlier generations had some knowledge which we have lost completely. Similar things is about, if you look at maths, people talk about sutras by sages which have formed the basis or sometimes even advanced calculus. Science of astronomy, about food, medicines, about the background and the evolution of yoga, not many things of the traditional knowledge have been lost. Then, with the Vedas, to attain the ultimate goal of one's freedom, the Shastras evolved. Shastras are codes of conduct. And these have also been changing with times, region, food and cultural habits. So, India is a vast country. So, the revelations of various rishis, masters, have been followed in various parts of India. People would worship different deities as their prime deity, but they were not in conflict. What was taught is a path of peaceful coexistence so that you are moving towards your liberation. Let us remember a quote by, Winston Churchill. You cannot stop your car to throw stones at every barking dog. In that case, you will never reach your destination. So the seekers of those times would only concentrate on their path to liberation and walk that path however difficult it may be. That's why it is very difficult for us to imagine the dimensions of perception, consciousness, our rishis. But I have met a few siddhas. Just by looking at a person, they are able to describe the current problems and solutions and what kind of spiritual steps that he should take for his own betterment. But the rishis have seen to it that the spiritual signs or the code of conduct that they have, which is required, they nicely embedded into all walks of life. So people across various sects, communities were able to get the essence of it. Mainly, the important point is to see that everybody had the freedom to choose his path in living, seeking liberation and also attaining it.